All right, good afternoon. Welcome to the first ever Biz2Beach. My name is Kim Kohatsu. Hopefully I've been in contact with most of you at some point. But I am the Director of Marketing at CallFire. I just want to start off by saying that I'm really thrilled that all of you guys are here. Just a few months ago, we didn't have any of this. Before we had speakers and before we had guests and before we had sponsors and catering and everything else that we've got, all we really had was an idea. And the idea basically blossomed out of the question, what would happen if we took leaders in the fields of tech, in the fields of marketing and social media, in the fields of business and business development, and we put them all in one room? What would that look like, and what would those conversations lead to? And here we are. We have been calling Biz2Beach an unconference, and we're working really hard to create something really true to that name. It's a relaxed environment, and we intentionally kept the group very small because we thought that it was really important for everyone to meet everyone else and for all of us to closely interact. So I truly hope that that happens. Everyone here is an expert at something, and so this is quite a group to learn from. As I said, it is a small group, but it's really big when you consider that people traveled from Silicon Valley, people came from the East Coast, people flew from Seattle, from Utah, and of course right here in LA to join us here today at Biz2Beach. We have founders, we have biz devs, we have marketing people, we have bloggers, we have social enterprises, we have startups and Fortune 500 companies all represented right here in this room. We also have a number of CallFire customers, and they include developers, small businesses, and enterprise-level clients. So considering that this is just 7 or 8 tables, that's kind of a lot to have in one room. There are also some folks that are joining us that aren't in this room. They are out there in what we like to call the intertubes. We're actually streaming live thanks to Efren and the good folks over at TechZulu. And we're being discussed in real time on Namesake, which is another LA startup that we love. And I'm absolutely sure that the Twitter sphere is just abuzz following our hashtag, which is Biz2Beach. So tweet away if you get 3G in this room. So anyway, let's dive in. As the host of Biz2Beach, we at CallFire are really excited to be among you all. As you know, or hopefully if you're from out of town, as you've thought, LA is becoming a hotter and hotter hub for technology and for business in general, and we're really excited to be part of that shift. So as we get the ball rolling on a day of discussion and exciting ideas, we at CallFire would like to showcase how we've been innovating and disrupting the space since our founding in 2004. So with that, I'd like to introduce our CEO and co-founder, Dinesh Ravishanker, to elaborate.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Super excited to have you all for our first annual Biz2Beach. We're really excited because we think the group that we curated today has a pretty diverse skill set, and there's something that we can all learn from the attendees, not just the discussion leaders that are here. Us personally at CallFire, we hope that we have something to share with you as well. The CallFire table is going to be back in that corner. And we have a slightly different story. We were bootstrapped. We've been around for about 6 to 7 years here in the LA area. And so we have a bit of experience in growing companies from a bootstrap perspective. So we hope to kind of give you guys some advice. And if anyone's interested in learning about that, please stop by. But the reason we're here is these are really strange times. In the last couple of years, many of us have faced some pretty serious growth challenges. And whether you're a startup or an enterprise, we're all really trying to figure out, unless you're BetterWorks and unless you're Clout and you just got 8 million, we're all trying to figure out how to grow right now. So, yeah, good job, guys. But our hope is that these discussions, kind of create a very casual environment where you guys can exchange ideas and hopefully walk away with something that's going to help your company grow. That's really the impetus. And so what I really want to do is urge everybody here to think about 2010 and think about the beginning of 2011 and what really separated you from other companies in distinguishing what allowed you to grow. And if you can keep that in your mind while you're having these conversations today and kind of take that advice and make sure you share it with everybody here. I think that if we have the opportunity, we obviously have the opportunity all to meet right now. And by doing that, by sharing that critical knowledge with each other, we can learn and then help each other grow our companies. But let me take a step back. For those who don't know, CallFire, we're a text messaging and voice messaging company. We send millions of texts each month and voice messages each month. Last year, we were named an Inc. 500 company, and this year we have about 40,000 new users. So we're growing fairly quickly. Thank you. And the challenge for now is we've built this platform. It's getting popular in the US. How do we internationalize it, and how do we increase adoption by businesses in the US? So we're here to learn from a lot of you guys on how we can do that. So we would love to talk to you about that. Again, going back to our scrappy beginnings as a startup, my founder, Vijesh Mehta, Pete, and I all we were computer science students at UC Irvine, and that's kind of where it all started. We all had a very similar disgust for corporate America, which caused us to start our own company. But we developed Windows apps, websites, you name it. And eventually, Vijesh became our star coder. Kamneev, whom many of you know, managed to harness some pretty big IT initiatives to bring some revenue into the company. Pete, whom some of you also know, managed a lot of our software development. TJ, our operations. Me, a lot of our UI design and biz dev initiatives. So we brought together a pretty substantial, basically different set of skills, and landed a few contracts with the Navy, TaxiJet, and some other substantial companies. But really, what took us to the next level was open source voice over IP consulting. We saw an opportunity to be disruptive in that space and to build a cloud platform that would allow developers to, via API, initiate text messages and allow small businesses to log in, create text message campaigns and voice campaigns and so forth. And the company has grown steadily since then. But 2010 was very different for us. It was a little bit more challenging to grow than it was in previous years. And we saw that a lot of other B2B businesses in Los Angeles and around the country were having similar challenges. So again, this is another impetus for us to all meet. And it's our hope that with the cumulative knowledge in the room, we're all going to learn something, walk away, and be better off for it. At the CallFire table, one of the things we're going to be discussing are the growth initiatives that worked for us in 2010. We're also going to be talking about some of the more innovative tools that are scrolling on this presentation that we've been building. So, really what we'd like to do, again, is to urge you to have at the top of your mind what's worked for you in 2010 and try to share as many of those ideas as possible. So let's meet, let's learn, let's figure out how to grow. And with that, I'd like to introduce Vijesh, our CTO. He's going to be talking about some of the new stuff we're working on in CallFire 3. Thank you.
Hey, I guess I'll wait for some slides to pop up because I'm not introducing Apple OS X. All right, so yeah, thanks Dinesh and everyone else for being here. One of the things that we've been working on for the last year for enormous amount of long hours is the third version of CallFire, and I'm happy to announce that here today, and we hope to release it soon to the public and all of our clients. And yeah, so next slide. Okay, so what we've learned in the past is that with 40,000 users, we've learned to scale an enormous amount. We've learned to make a lot of phone calls. We've learned to do a lot of plumbing for a system. And what triggered CallFire as a product was that when we first started, telecom needed simplification. It was nearly impossible that if you wanted to do anything complex, you'd have to spend thousands of dollars with Nortel or Lucent, and you'd put all these products into your data center, and then you'd actually get useful telephony. Well, we decided, hey, there's a better way, and CallFire is going to simplify that, and we're going to put it on the web, and we're going to make telephony simple. You don't have to buy these big things. And that was the impetus of CallFire 2. With CallFire 3, we're now realizing that it's not enough to simplify telephony. We have to simplify the telephony experience for our users as well. Let's see. No problem. Okay, so part of this version 3 is a full rewrite of CallFire, and we're focusing heavily on big scale and focusing heavily on the user experience. So I'll show you how we did that. Here's an example. I think just one more previous. I don't know if you can go back, but there you go. Okay. All right, so one of the things that we did was we started off with focusing on the phone number, and what we used to do was throw raw data at the user, and our new sorry. Okay, and our new approach is to actually simplify telephony by focusing on the contact. We have some slides going by, and I think what we'll do is we'll demo it afterwards, and you guys can come by and check it out. I know there are a lot of CallFire customers out here, and you guys will be excited to see some of this in action, and so we can definitely do that. I'll speak to, we actually have, whoops, sorry. Okay, we got some of our slides up. Okay, so to give you an example, all right, so CallFire 2, we focused on the phone number, and as you can see, like we gave you the raw data, and with CallFire 3, we focus more on the customer, and so you can actually have a conversation and see the history of your customer. Another example of CallFire 2, I think the next slide. We threw a lot of raw data at you, and we showed you what your campaigns were doing and stuff like that. With CallFire 3, we give you a user experience that's actually designed around modifying that data for you. You can see all the graphs and all those things for you. And I'll speak a little bit of technical stuff. Essentially, in order to get CallFire to this stage, we were able to build something that can handle 100,000 users. Our goal is to be able to handle something that can handle 1 million users. And part of that is a two-stage process. And one of that was creating a testing environment that actually scales well. So one of the things we learned from Netflix was what we call the chaos monkey. And essentially what we do is we have a bunch of servers, and we actually turn them off randomly. And we see if our system can handle it, and there's no errors in the system. And that's one of the technologies we're kind of bringing into CallFire 3. So we're going to have a system that's very reliable and can sustain outages, significantly across the board. In order to do this, small businesses have to use a lot of tools. We don't have a big development team with millions of dollars, and so some of the tools we use, I put some icons on there. We use Cassandra, Apache Wicket, Zen's virtual machine system, and as well as ActiveMQ for queuing all of our stuff. I can talk in detail to some of the techies out here afterwards. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my introduction for CallFire 3. To learn more, please come to me to the demo, and we'll go over it. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalia. I met all of you at the lunch if you were there. Otherwise, hi, I'm sure I'll meet you later during the day. I just quickly and briefly want to go over our schedule for the day, just so that we're all on the same page. It's all in your programs, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew what was going on right now before we start. Basically, there'll be 4 30-minute sessions, as you can see in the program. Between the first 2 and the last 2, there'll be a short 10-minute break for you to switch tables. And in between the 4 sessions, there's going to be a short coffee break outside. What's going to happen during the sessions is you're going to choose which table you want to sit at, and each table is going to be only about 8 to 9 people, plus the speaker or discussion leader even. If the table is full, just go on to the next table, another table that you're interested in, come back to the first table during the next session. We want to keep the discussions small. 8 or 9 people is just enough for everyone to hear and be heard. So we really want a sharing of ideas. We want you definitely to learn from our speakers, but I think everyone in this room has a lot to learn from each other as well. Clearly there's only 4 sessions, but there are 7 tables. Don't worry if you don't get to a table. That's why we're going to have that big group discussion at the very end. We're going to have a discussion with everyone in the room and sort of do a recap of some of the ideas that came up, some of the really cool things that each table discussed, so everyone will have a chance to hear what was happening. Just to briefly introduce the speakers, they're in your program, but I also wanted to mention them briefly up here as well. If you could please either stand up or wave to the room when I mention your name, just so people know what you look like if they haven't met you. First, we have Tony Adam. Tony's the founder and CEO of Eventify and Visible Factors. Visible Factors is an SEO consulting company, and Eventify is a local LA-based startup creating a venue marketplace. And before this, he was the director of online marketing at MySpace. So he definitely has some great things to share about lessons learned from businesses like MySpace. And he'll also be talking about scaling up online marketing programs and the missteps that companies often make while growing. Then we have Matt Aravallo, right here. He's the founder of Masterworks, which is a consulting company that provides digital strategy that combines tech, production, and social. He's also actually a social producer on CBS News What's Trending. And before that, he was the director of research and analytics at Singly and Mackie, which created social media strategies for many Fortune 500 companies, such as Microsoft, Hasbro, EA, Target, just to name a few. So he'll be talking about social media analytics and ROI and how conversation is not enough without conversion. Then we also have Garth Holsinger, who's joining us from San Francisco. He's the VP of Global Sales and Business Development at Klout. For those of you that don't know, Klout provides social media analytics and measures users' influence across the social media networks, just as a small part of what they do. Garth pioneered Klout's first influence marketing campaign with Virgin America, and since then he's partnered with popular brands like Nike, Pepsi, Fox, Disney, many others. So he'll be talking about successes and advice in partner development using some of the case studies from Klout. Also here we have Van Jepsen, also from San Francisco. He is the founder and CEO of Group Price. It's a Groupon for business users. So he'll be talking about how the daily deal model popularized by Groupon has been extended to enable small business owners and probably eventually large business owners too, to grow their businesses while cutting costs. Which, I mean, with the popularity of Groupon, it's really interesting to see what that can be extended to in the future. A third of our visitors from San Francisco, we have Krishna Subramanian here. He is the co-founder of MobClicks, which is the industry's largest and leading mobile ad exchange network. So he'll be talking about the future of mobile advertising and how to maximize its potential, which is something that most companies are looking into right now since mobile has become such a huge space. And last but not least, we have Robin Ward. She is the Director of Sales and Business Development at BetterWorks, a platform that provides a better way to manage employee perks. And she'll be talking a bit more about the people aspect of tech. So fostering a positive and productive work environment for your employees and rewarding and motivating talent, and how up-and-coming next-generation platforms like BetterWorks can help facilitate that within companies. And as you've heard earlier from Dinesh and Vijesh, we'll have a 7th table, the CallFire Founders Table. And the Founders Table will have about 2 to 3 of the CallFire founders added at any one time. And they'll be talking about how the movement to the cloud has disrupted so many different industries, like the trillion-dollar telecom sector, for example. And you'll be able to talk to the engineers who built CallFire about what the cloud really is and why it's so important, and how a bootstrapped company can really grow and succeed in today's economy, sort of the growth lessons that we've learned and have to share. Or for those of you who are CallFire customers, also some of our great coming features and what we can do. So all the table numbers are in your programs. You should be able to see where everyone is at any one time. Just a quick note, you'll notice that some of the speakers, they say like table 2, but session 3 is in the cabana. What that means is during that session, this table inside will be empty, and that speaker will be outside in the cabana. TechZulu will actually be filming one conversation per session, so we're going to be rotating some of the discussions through the outside cabana. So if you see the table inside empty, you're probably going to be outside. You're going to be filmed. Smile. You will be on camera. Just a quick recap, during the first session, Robin will be outside. During the second session, Krishna will be outside, then Tony, and then Matt. So if you can't find them inside, they're probably outside. Also, if at any point you have questions, feel free to find me or Kim, who spoke at the very beginning, or Chathri. Chathri will be running around making sure everything's going smoothly the entire time as well. So find any of the three of us or any of the staff, and they'll find us. Other than that, we'll take a quick 10-minute break to get all the video to set up outside for all of you guys to get a chance to look over the program and see where you want to be during the next session. Don't all run for the same table at once. Otherwise, I look forward to meeting all of you, and I hope all of you are really excited to meet each other, learn from each other, learn from the speakers, have some great discussions, and I'll see you later in the day.